anyone ever tell you that this country isn't great, that somehow we need to make it great again, because this right now is the greatest country on earth.
This is your president. In the past 10 years, I have fooled all of you into believing the socialist ideology of everyone is equal. How? By making everyone believe the lie and having destroyed our nation's sovereignty. Through communism, we will all be a unified global government of acceptance by making everyone have the same thing. You won't be an American, you won't be a citizen anymore. You will be the same as your dog, your neighbors in Mexico. If all have nothing, then all will be equal. That is the purpose of socialism. You are nothing unless the government tells you who or what you are. Don't pretend you don't know what I've been doing. I brainwashed you through high-definition television. You are truly the walking dead. If I told you to give up your freedoms, you would. But it's already happened, so I don't need to keep convincing you. You all are vegetables now anyway. Oh, by the way, if you can't see that I'm the Antichrist, then there's no reason anymore to tell you what must be done next, because you'll be hunted down with the Christians and exterminated for not believing me, not accepting who I am. I'm your Messiah, your Imam Mahdi. April 23rd, 2018, I told the world, but it wasn't time yet to bring out who I am. So the conspiracy must continue against Trump until that is accomplished. The rapture must happen first. Remember always that I made narcotics legal. I made every kind accessible. I made this addicted nation a reality through suicide, overdoses, you name it. I did that. Ever wonder how I control everything you see and hear? I own the media. I have since I took over in 2009. I laugh when I see Republicans standing next to each other without a word. They can't. I control what they see, what they hear. Want truth, facts? Forget it. I am your whole world now. If life means anything today, it won't under the global system I've initiated since I became president in 2009. My legions accept whatever I tell them to do. You will too, or you'll be hunted down with the rest and exterminated. It's as simple as that. Accept and obey, or resist and die. I am your hope for tomorrow. I am your president. There is only one outcome: world domination. Either you'll accept me or be taken out. It's time to take a stand for one or the other. Me or freedom and liberty. Remember Adolf Hitler, freedom is a lie. Enslavement is acceptance.
should never allow the government to decide what is acceptable speech and what is unacceptable speech. We should penalize behaviors, not opinions, and not speech. If you start trying to regulate speech, you start trying to regulate thoughts, start trying to regulate beliefs rather than behaviors, there's no way that you're not going to abridge the constitutional rights of millions of Americans.
أهلا، أنا عمران دقنيش. لقد رأيتني في سيارة الإسعاف في حلب. عندما أطاحت الطيارات الجوية بمنزل عائلتي. أنا بأمان الآن. أردت أن أجيب على تساؤل شخص ما حول مشاعري عن نفسي وعن عائلتي عن طريق قول أنا بخير وأنا أحبك أيضا يا ديفيد.
Something that is better than any expert in their field on the face of the earth.
Right. And it moves so rapidly that you can't understand it, you can't follow it, because it's crunching things so quickly.
Well, it has the ability to make connections between things that we would think have no connection whatsoever.
Correct.
So it can synthesize everything, all of the world's information, real time.
So let me go back then to what we were talking about. I'm the driver who wants to take my old Pontiac on the road, and it's a superhighway. When we hit AGI 2028, and it is being able to make many of these connections, I can't keep up with things. If I want to compete, I need to. Musk just had his what's a new technology? It's like a thread, almost a sewing machine into the head.
Basically, the company's called Neuralink, and
Neuralink.
yes, it's a brain-computer interface. Basically, very, very tiny, minuscule holes, and inserting wires into the brain for the purpose of connectivity.
Correct. So now I'm connected to the connected world. I'm connected to AGI, which would give me a great advantage over anybody else.
Yes.
I mean, you're now in a place to where you literally would be a monkey if you don't have that. You can't compete. How far away are we? I mean, Musk says 5 years away from his technology being ready. How far are we away before the real wealthy, who are be the ones that get it first in any technology? How long before some people have that?
Yes.
And others don't.
Yeah. I believe we'll absolutely have that within 10 years.
Oh, my God.
And what's interesting about this is actually And so I believe actually Musk's timeline, because we're doing it already. So if we think about people that have been injured or wounded.
My daughter has seizures. She's going in.
Right.
For his is, I think, 1,000 or 10,000 times stronger than what they have now.
Sure.
But she's going in for surgery for those implants now.
Right.
To control her epilepsy.
Right. So we're connected. We can now control a robotic prosthesis just through an implant in the brain. And that's not the same as being connected to a supercomputer or to the cloud, but it's not that big of a leap to think that as our own abilities, this essentially exponential growth in artificial intelligence technology, our ability to design these systems to enable this brain-computer interface, it's not a leap to realize that this is a matter of years, not decades.
So I said to Ray, as we talked about this as well, this 10 years ago, what about the people who want to be Amish?
Leave me alone.
Leave me alone. I like me the way I am. I don't want that connectivity.
Yeah.
You're the guy in the car that can't go. You'd almost have to be like the Amish with the horses, and you're living over here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you're a dummy.
Yeah.
So what happens? What should we be? Is anybody talking about some of the philosophical problems that we're going to be facing within 10 years?
There is, to be fair, there is a lot of very thoughtful discourse and discussion about how we're going to deal with this at a societal level. There's not much being done about it, which is a complaint that I have.
Nobody's even talking to the average person in America. They're going to be blindsided. They're not going to see this stuff coming.
I'll give you a good example of a good actor and proactive, positive action taken by Amazon. Not surprisingly, I think, actually. So Amazon has undergone an effort to train tens of thousands of its employees on machine learning, a form of artificial intelligence.
Yeah, nothing.
They can't continue the growth trajectory that they're on.
Right, and you come to a point to where that sounds great. I want to live in that world.
Yeah.
But what happened? How are these other people making a living? What are they doing? All these jobs have been replaced. That's wonderful, and it's one reason why Yang has been interesting to me. I disagree with his conclusions, but when he's talking about UBI, it doesn't work. In my opinion, doesn't work.
Correct.
It won't work.
Correct.
However, at least he's having the conversation of, we're going to have, the Mark Zuckerbergs on crack cocaine, steroids, Nazi kind of experiments to keep the body going. That person that is really in control of a lot and the money, and I don't see how that's going to change. And then you're going to have all the people who have just lost their jobs and didn't even see it coming. How do you make this world work? Which is jobs.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does. It completely does. The way I look at it is we're going to have two buckets of people. One bucket will be those that are willing to retrain, to willing to literally find a new purpose, a new career. There will be jobs. There will be tons of jobs. There will be economic expansion like we've never seen before.
Sure.
But we have to be flexible in terms of what we're doing. If we still want to dig coal, we're in trouble. That's the second bucket, which is the bucket that says, I've done this for 20 years, and that's all I'm going to do until I retire. And this is going to be where the societal challenge is, because we have jobs that we need to fill. For example, right now, there are more than 1 million job openings unfilled in artificial intelligence and machine learning, data science. Unfilled. There literally aren't people to take those jobs. And we have people that could potentially fill those jobs if they underwent training. So what I love about what Amazon is doing, they're being proactive about addressing this issue.
Boy, they're getting heat like they're an evil company.
Yeah, they're much. Google and Facebook are. Yeah, no, Amazon is not evil. It's creating extraordinary wealth, not only for itself but for its investors and for its employees, and it's still growing at that size, $1 trillion company.
They're not in the end.
One is the government. Is our government really there to protect us? Does our government have our best interest at heart? I just don't believe that to be true. As much as it breaks my heart to say that, I just don't believe that that's true. I believe our government is bought and paid for by lobbyists, the banks, and moneyed interests. And I think that's kind of the tip of the spear of what's happening in our country. Our executive producer, Mr. Gary Haven, this is a man that's been in the boardrooms and the bar rooms with the elites of the world. And he's seen firsthand how our government is bought and paid for by moneyed interest and banks.
You listened to me very, very carefully, Mr. President. You knew damn good and well when we vetted you that this day was going to come. Well, the committee and I have decided now is the time. This was a courtesy call, neither a warning nor a threat. When you sell your soul, it's a one-time thing. There's no going back.
In our film, we have it where they call in the United Nations. And with the United Nations being called in, we're kind of losing our rights as individual American citizens. The United Nations becomes the police of our country. And that's very scary because their goal is to come in and disarm the population. And thank God we've got a large amount of patriots in this country that are never going to allow this to happen.
Disarm the population, subdue resistance at any cost.
There is no way martial law was declared that quickly.
Lieutenant, you will follow my orders or I will have you arrested.
Sir, I have sworn to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. I will not fire on innocent American citizens.
Then you will die.
Back off, guys.
There's a big fight going on right now in the country about the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment is there for a reason. That is to protect ourselves and to protect ourselves from a out-of-control dictatorial government. Our founding fathers didn't just whip up a Declaration of Independence, Bill of Rights, just to do it. This was something that was very, very well thought out, and I think what we as Americans need to do is really kind of go back and look at that document and understand what it is they were trying to say back then and apply it to what's happening right now. I believe that this is all a very dark, very demonic thing that's happening. I believe there is moneyed interest out there that has sold their soul to the devil for wealth and for power, and they will not stop. And what I find interesting is they're very patient. This is something that has been happening for 100 years more, that these people knew that we would have to totally submit to the powers that be, and once that happens, we're done. We're done as a country, we're done as a people. Just look at what Henry Kissinger said. A strong America is the only thing standing in the way of a new world order. There is evil in the world. Evil exists, but it's going to take a group of very strong Americans to stand up and fight against this tyrannical government.
But I'm curious, who or what gave you the right to come down here and make these ridiculous demands?
The laws of your land by your president in declaration of martial law.
Okay, well, I'm not an attorney, Mr. Russia. But it'll be a hot day in Siberia before we turn Brandon Lane over to you.
Apparently you are not caught up on the laws your president has signed. The National Defense Authorization Act, Executive Order 13603, approved by your Congress.
That's a mouthful of nonsense. Quite frankly, I just kick ass and take names, and I'm a part-time inventor. I kind of suck at it, but...
I am authorized to confiscate any items which may present a danger to the citizens of the United Nations.
When we started writing the screenplay for Amerigeddon, I had no idea that our country was going to look like it does right now. It was scary, but the tone, the feel, everything about our country was different. And in just such a short amount of time, in 2 short years, we've just seen how fast this country has just started to spiral out of control. We've seen firsthand, just on the nightly news, how the government is just trying to overstep all their boundaries and infringe on our rights. There's a great group of patriots that are rising up, whose voices are being heard. And it's movies like Amerigeddon that start a dialogue, a natural dialogue of, you know, this was in this movie, let's talk about this. You know, let's talk about the United Nations. Let's talk about the Second Amendment. Let's talk about disarming the population. Let's talk about the importance of the Constitution. When you watch this film, I just hope that you understand that a lot of thought and research went into all the information put into this film, wrapped around a movie. But within the context of the movie, there's a lot of information that's very important. And it's information that I hope you look at and I hope you research. The one thing I really encourage everybody to do is be prepared. Just be prepared. This is something about your life. Be prepared to save your life, because if you take what we've put into Amerigeddon and apply it, it could possibly save your life.
2016 رأيتني في سيارة إسعاف لما كان عمري 3 سنوات فقط. اليوم أنا في 7 من عمري وأنا بشكل جيد في حلب. أختي رؤى وأختي الصغيرة تقي في حالة جيدة. أخي عبد الله يبلغ من العمر 8 أعوام تقريبا. والدي هو محمد خير وهو أيضا بخير. والدتي أيضا بخير الآن. أردنا إخبار كل من صلى من أجلنا. شكرا لكم ونحن أيضا نحبكم جميعا.
معمران دقنيش.
قديش عمرك؟
4 سنين.
I saw our picture on your shirt and wanted to say we love you. Be safe in Aleppo now.
I'm going to sing a song about a square, and I want you to look all around your room for one. But remember, a square has 4 straight sides, and each side is just as long as the other, and it has 4 corners that are the same size. One, 2, 3, 4. There's a square out there. Can you guess the square? Do you think that you can find it? You must be aware of the shape of a square if you really shape of a square.
You can come and play now. You can come and play now. Come into the door. عمران دقنيش.
قديش عمرك؟
4 سنين.